Hi, my name is Max and I'm a production assistant from LTC's production group. This video is the first of 4 tutorial videos for Final Cut Pro X. In this video, I will introduce Final Cut Pro and how to begin the editing process. We will be covering the basic layout of the program and how to import media correctly into Final Cut. Before we delve into the layout of Final Cut Pro X, I want to emphasize the importance of having a good hard drive for editing. Hard drives for editing should have a minimum write speed of 7,200 RPM with USB 3.0 or Thunderbolt connections. There are a couple of reasons for using a separate hard drive for editing. First, the computers at the university wipe on a regular basis, so if you start a project and save it to the desktop or to the folders on a university computer, it's likely that you'll lose all your work. Secondly, if your Final Cut libraries are saved onto a hard drive, it's possible for you to edit on different computers, as long as they all have Final Cut installed on them. Now, we'll get into the structure of Final Cut Pro. First, on the top left, you'll see the Libraries section. This is where you'll be able to see the libraries you have created and the events within them. As you can see, Final Cut automatically provides us with an empty library with one event in it. This default library saves to the Movies folder on the Mac you are currently using. We recommend that you create a new library rather than use this one. To the right of the Libraries tab, you'll see the Event Browser. This displays all media stored in a certain library. You can also preview the clips of media by hovering your mouse back and forth over the media clips, which you'll see later after we import media. To the right of the Event Browser, you'll see the Preview window. This will display the currently active clip, either from the Event Browser or from your project timeline. To the right of the Preview window, you'll see the Inspector window. After we've imported media, you'll see that this section becomes a control panel where the currently active clip, either audio or video, can be manipulated in a number of different ways. For example, you can correct the coloring of video clips or adjust the gain of audio in this window. Spanning the middle of the program window is a lighter gray rectangle, which is the toolbar for Final Cut. The toolbar has a variety of different tools that will facilitate the editing process. We will go over each tool in depth in a later video. Finally, below the toolbar, you'll see the timeline window. This is where you'll be editing your video by inserting media clips from the Event Browser. As of right now, there's nothing there as we have not created a new project. Before we begin importing media into Final Cut, we need to create a new library. To create a new library, go to File, New Library. Final Cut will ask you to name the library. Final Cut will also ask you where you want to save it. This is where you would indicate that you want the library to be saved on your external hard drive. The new library will show up in the Libraries section with one event in it labeled with today's date. There are 2 ways to import media into your new library. You can either press the Import Media button in the Event Browser, or you can go up to File, Import, and then Media. They will both bring up the same import window. First, find the media that you'd like to import into Final Cut. When you select a clip, it will appear in the Preview window within the Import page. Below the Preview window, you'll see a film strip that shows thumbnails for every couple of seconds of footage. This is how media will appear in the Event Browser and in the project timeline as well. You can import individual files or folders. Next, we'll go over the various settings on the right column of the Import window. You can add the media into an existing event or create a new event. Make sure, however, that is going into the correct library. The next option asks if you want to copy files to the library or leave files in place. Copying files to the library will embed these files into the Final Cut bundle. If you know that the files will always be on the same storage device as your Final Cut bundle, you can choose to leave the files in place. We, however, suggest that you copy files just to be safe. This next section gives you options about transcoding. Choosing Create Optimized Media means that Final Cut will unpack files into Final Cut Pro's natural codec. This makes editing more fluid. Choosing Create Proxy Media means that Final Cut Pro will bring media in as a low-resolution version of Apple ProRes 422. This is useful when you're editing 4K or 6K files that your computer may not be equipped to deal with. When the project is exported, the proxy media will convert back to the full-resolution media again. This makes editing quicker for when you are editing with larger resolution files. However, we recommend you use optimized media if you can. The next section will ask you which keywords you want to use. You can use keywords from Finder tags, from folders, and more. However, I'll be showing you how to create your own keywords for clips in a later video, so you can unselect these for the time being. The next section will ask if you want to have Final Cut Pro automatically fix color and audio issues that it finds in the media. There is also a checkbox at the very bottom of this column that asks if you would like to close the import window after starting an import. If you are importing data from more than one folder or location, uncheck this to keep the import window open even after you start an import. In the next video, we'll talk about prepping media for editing and creating a new project in Final Cut Pro.